I like set it all up, and now the doll. Anyway, whatever. Got it.
Okay, guys, we're live on YouTube. Super exciting. This is the 7th annual Imagine This Women's Film Festival 2022. It's a hybrid festival this year. We're really excited about, having some virtual moments and opportunities, also some in-person moments. And today we have with us, we're super excited, Lindsay Gray from the short film Hummingbird, and Courtney Deline from the documentary No Girls Allowed. So we're going to chat with you guys a little bit today. I really would love to hear, a little bit about your process, synopsises of the film, kind of what connected your heart to kind of diving into this, and then, get more information just about you and your lives and how wonderful you are to be a part of this festival. So we'll start with you, Lindsay.
Okay.
Just give us a brief synopsis of your film.
Gosh, my film is a small kind of family drama. Essentially, there's a little girl who's been playing, and that night at dinner, she starts to behave a little bit differently, and her mom is noticing some tension, and it turns out she has sort of developed abilities. So there's a bit of sci-fi in there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I guess, that's interesting because people who are watching this might not have already seen it. So I don't know if I want to go into the spoilers, but it's about kind of secrets and being able to connect with other people in sort of extraordinary ways.
And what made you passionate about telling this story? Like, what drove you to say, this is something that I have to tell?
Well, partially, so it is a bit of sci-fi, and I'm very interested in sci-fi, and I love kind of patient zero origin stories of things. And basically, I just saw this whole thing come about, and I thought this was a really interesting way to incorporate also like children and the way children see the world and the way they learn things. And also, I have to say, I was pregnant and we were in the height of the pandemic, and this was something I could shoot in my house. So that was also part of it.
How cool. So can I ask if the child there's a child in the film?
There is, yes.
Is it your child or?
No.
Okay.
So I was pregnant with my first. My mom is a studio teacher. So she works in the film industry. Whenever there's a minor on set, they're missing their schooling. So she is there to teach them and also enforce all the child labor laws on behalf of the state of California. So the child actor we were able to use was just brilliant. And she was a former student of my mom's. So yeah, that's how we were able to make that work, because this very much hinged on the ability of a 7-year-old to be nuanced and really sell it. So she did great.
That's awesome. So you shared with me that you've been in the film industry for some time now. This is your actually your first time directing.
Correct.
What was it like for you to sort of make that pivot? First off, what were you doing before? And what was it like for you to make that pivot into this new role, like sort of helming your own ship and being the captain?
Yeah, it was incredible. So what had I been doing before? I'd been doing everything before. I started out in art departments. I was very much into art before. And again, my mom in the industry kind of like opened a door. And so I worked in art departments of like Jurassic Park 3 and Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3 and Tropic Thunder and Social Network and all kinds of crazy things. And then I kind of expanded beyond the art department and I worked with a producer. I really liked the big picture, like putting the whole thing together. And then eventually I was connected with a director. And at that point, I really found kind of my voice in kind of also helping to tell the story and identifying what made the story strong, how to make it stronger, and ways to execute that. And I think in the back of my mind, I had always kind of hoped that my path would lead me to directing, but I was kind of waiting for it to be organic, or basically I was waiting for permission. And
Right.
so I finally said, no, I give myself permission. I'm going to do this. And
I love
so,
that. I
yeah.
love
Yeah.
funny because earlier this morning I had a thought that occurred to me. It's like the difference between aspiring to be something and being something is literally just doing it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I love to hear that you utilize your resources, and even in the most dire of circumstances, and you just muscled up and use your creativity to make this really wonderful film that if you haven't seen it yet, guys, so excited. Just to kind of let you guys know, and I will let you guys know consistently, the films are still available at Imagine This Prods. So that's PRODS.com, where you can still watch these fantastic films. So right now we're going to pivot to Courtney. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here. So you shared with me that you are typically working in the narrative space. You've done this for some time now. So talk to us about your sort of process from working in the narrative space to now working on this documentary, No Girls Allowed. What was that process like for you?
It kind of just happened serendipitously and by total fluke. I was working with the producer of No Girls Allowed. He was editing one of my narrative projects, and it came out to, I love working with you. Would you be interested in this? And it kind of happened organically. It is a totally different beast. I'm so used to having, because I'm working in narrative, I have coverage and I know what my shots are going to be, and I know what the end goal is, and I can create the pieces as we go so that in the end, I know what fits where with the documentary, you can't necessarily ask someone in an interview to, go again, just like this. It's live.
You were talking about you being a mom and she's a dog mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Goodness, he's a puppy, he's new, and he doesn't have any manners.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to stop the interview and try to pick up and go again. You can't necessarily have, if someone's having a really emotional moment, to go, oh, just 1 second, there's a car, or like, just 1 second, oh, the sound is bad. Yeah. You kind of have to just let people be in the moment and feeling whatever they're feeling and hoping that, the elements are on your side and you can edit things together. There's a couple of moments where we had someone say something incredibly profoundly, but the sound was just so bad. So we had to have them come back and do a little bit of ADR afterwards. We were like, this is what you were saying. We're going to put some B-roll. Do you think you could maybe say it one more time? So it's just, it's a different beast. And there were things in the interviews that I wasn't expecting to find that I didn't plan. Like, we were going along one way, and then we would review the footage and go, oh, this is so much more interesting. We need to pivot or lean into this aspect, where in my mind I'd planned, well, this is the route we're going to go, like a shot list.
Right.
Like, this is what we want to get on the day. And you try to veer into that section, but then someone would say something completely in an opposite direction. You go, oh, this is so much better. Okay, we're going to pivot and we'll figure out what's going to happen on the cutting room floor. So it was just different. I'm a planner. I'm a type A person. I like to go in with my shot list and then work with actors on the day and pivot on the day. But when you can't really even go in with a map, like a road map, it's just, it's more thrilling, but also more anxiety producing. And it's just more work on the tail end.
Yeah. So I would love to actually have you give a little bit of a synopsis of this film, now that we kind of know about the background and how it came to be.
So No Girls Allowed is about the sexism that exists in geek culture. And yes, it's gotten significantly better, but there's still a huge way to go. We released it before a lot of these like really wonderful female-led superhero movies have come out. But even now, sitting back and looking and watching reviews and watching like the geekdom kind of take in this female-led content, it's really kind of falling short, because you have something like the Marvel Universe where you have, you know, male-led films that have a lot of backstory, and you're giving them a lot of character, and you're giving these like really in-depth storylines to have this huge climax where they really earn their power and they earn everything that comes their way, so that you really champion behind them. Where with female-led films, they're just kind of like, well, here you go, like, you can do everything. There's really no pitfalls. There's not much dimension. Here you go. Like, this is for you. You can just be awesome. And the female characters don't have that, you know, like struggle or vulnerability that they build within the male characters to make them really full dimensional. So again, there's a lot of space. There's a lot of change to go. There's a lot of work to do. I'm going to kill my kid. But also a big thing that touched on that we didn't necessarily plan was the cosplay culture and the amount of toxic masculinity for cosplayers, because females, you know, the characters that they have are usually scantily clad, or they're very, very sexy. So when you're dressing up authentically to that character, I think a lot of times people feel like a pass that they can do inappropriate things because they don't see you as a human, they see you as this character. So that was a big eye-opening aha moment that we kind of lead into, going like, oh, I didn't even cross my mind that that was such a huge problem for a lot of female cosplayers. This, you know, like sexual harassment and the danger that some of them have to put up with. So yeah, touching base on that, just giving females a voice. And through all of the interviews that we did, when we were editing, we found that everyone was kind of saying the same thing, and we were able to make this project into one collective voice. The way it laid out was really interesting, that they were all having this same conversation. So instead of hearing people repeat what they're saying, there's just one long conversation that they all kind of collectively talked about. And then we interviewed men just because, and they basically confirmed every single thing that all of these females were saying. And it was just like a cherry on the sundae at the end of the day, going, see, these are our problems, and you just confirmed it.
Right. And it's not one of those things where it's like, am I making this up? Like, is this in my mind? It's like, no, we've heard it. Now we've heard it multiple times, and we've heard it from different sources. We've heard it even from, you know, the opposite gender, which I think is so powerful, because if we're, you know, sort of seeking to kind of bring light to these problems, you know, and validity, you know, that's sort of the precipice of change. So that's really fantastic. What would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned in this process?
To go with the flow, I think. To really go with the flow and to not hold too tight to anything, because plans will always change. And if you kind of hold on to an idea that's not necessarily working, or a narrative that you really have your whole heart set on and it just isn't translating, sorry, and don't. My goodness. Sorry. Holding on to an idea too tight, because that doesn't allow you to have like flow and ease and change, and you can end up finding something so much more interesting if you kind of get out of your way and just let things happen. Yes, we have to have a plan. You have to have a plan or it's just going to be chaos on set if you're doing a narrative or if you're doing a documentary. You have to have an end goal in mind. You have to have a story outline in mind, so that everyone knows what you're collectively working for. But if you're so stuck in this, like, it has to be this lane, or it has to be this point, or I have to get them to say this point, and it doesn't come out organically, then you kind of have to let it go and pivot and see what else kind of comes. It's like when you're working with actors on a script that maybe you've written, and you hear it in your head a very specific way.
Yeah.
And you're like, I need, like, this is how it's supposed to be said. And the actor says it a completely different way that you never would have thought would be interpreted. And you go, oh, well, I didn't think of it that way. That's actually better. Let's lean into that.
Yes. Yeah.
And just kind of trusting that the people around you are amazing, or they wouldn't be, like, you wouldn't have chosen them to be part of it. And trust other people's ideas. That's an essay worth saying, like, just get out of your own way.
That is also key. Anne Bogart, avant-garde theater director, has the saying, hold on tightly, let go lightly. So that's essentially, you know, having the ability to pivot is so key. And what you said, it's really interesting. I had that conversation with an actor one time with something that I wrote. And I said, I think the intention behind what he's saying is this. And he said, well, actually, I thought of it like this. And I said, oh, okay, well, if it's like that, then lean into that. And it sounded so incredible. It just flowed so well. So just having that ability to get out of your own head and say, well, I was kind of hoping it would come across this way, and letting people sort of trust their instincts and make their own choices is just so key. Lindsay, what would you say is the biggest thing you've learned in this process for your first short film ever?
Yeah, gosh, learned so many things. And one of them is also like, it's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And, you know, don't let perfection be the enemy of good or great. And yeah, move forward. Just like, you can't get too stuck on one thing. Just keep charging ahead. And so that was a big thing for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also loved what Courtney said, and approaching everything with curiosity and kind of keeping yourself open to what you're going to discover.
And did you find that working with a child kind of helped that, because they have that natural sort of wonderment and curiosity? Do you think that sort of helped you in that process of maintaining that for yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, she blew me away. The hardest thing was actually like directing like inserts, like, no, move your hand a little bit this way. Like the technical stuff was actually weirdly a lot harder than the emotional stuff. But yeah, it was great to kind of capture her. She really, like, we had a toy that she played with, and she really like attached herself to this toy, and so the way she interacted it with naturally was really beautiful too.
Yeah. So would you and wrapping up here, I would love to hear from both of you, and I guess we'll start with Lindsay. What are your goals for the future? You know, you've accomplished so much, you know, getting into festivals, and you know, you've got the ball moving. You know, I imagine making a film or filmmaking kind of like a boulder, you know, you just gotta keep pushing it until and now you guys have gotten it down the hill and it's rolling. So what are your goals?
Yeah, honestly, to keep going. And the thing that's been challenging for me, as I mentioned, I was 20 weeks pregnant when we filmed.
Yeah.
And I did post while working on something else and trying to like get through it before I had baby. And then I kind of had ideas of what life would be like with a baby, like, oh, when he's napping, I'll do all this. And when we're walking, I'll have my brilliant ideas. And that all doesn't exactly pan out the way you'd hope. So yeah, it's kind of regaining my creative voice and kind of keeping the momentum going in the wake of motherhood, which is a big thing.
Yeah. And how old is your
he's
baby?
Now 14 months.
14 months.
Yeah, he's running around and starting to say words and chasing the cats and all that fun stuff.
That's so cool.
It is.
Human like turn into themselves. That's,
oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah, and developing their own personalities is wonderful. What a gift. Courtney, tell me about your goals.
So I've committed to doing 2 more short films. One we're filming in the fall, and another we're filming early next year. And the latter is a calling card that we're going to try to use to sell a pilot that I'm a part of the development of. It's called Outsourced, and it's a project for the dissociative identity disorder written by multiple systems. So the short film is different characters, but touched on the same experience of getting a DID diagnosis and what that feels like, and communicating internally with the people that share your body. So yeah, I'm working on that, and we're hopefully going to use that to pitch this pilot. I have a feature film that I'm writing that I'm really hoping to get some funding for, because as much as I love short form projects, I love short form. I've made a lot of it. It is time to make that step up into longer form feature films, and I have a web series that I'm writing. So just keeping going, like you said, just continuing to make the thing, and then, you know, touch as many lives as you can.
That's incredible, truly. Would you guys like to share with everyone your Instagram, or a way that people can just stay abreast of what the goings on are and how we can just, you know, stay involved?
Sure. I'm at Lindsay Gary, LINDSEYGARY at Instagram.
And what about you, Courtney?
I'm at Courtney Deelen. So it's Courtney with a C, DEELEN. I'm the only Courtney Deelen in the world, according to Google. So
That's cool.
Find. And so my website is the same. It's my name, CourtneyDeelen.com.
I absolutely love it. And I cannot wait to see more projects from both of you. And I honestly, like, if you guys have not seen these two amazing short films, please do yourself a favor, go to Imagine, I'm going to spell it out, Imagine this prods, PRODS.com. They're still available. Please do not miss these fantastic stories. And thank you guys so much for taking the time today to join us. 7th annual. At 7 is kind of a really special number for me, because I feel like it's like the number of completion. It's the number of, you know, the days of the week, and it's a good number. So the 7th annual is just really special, and I see so much, obviously, for the both of you guys in the future. So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks
for having me.
Yeah.
Sorry for my kids.